Alright, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Tony Shen. I'm back with another FL Studio stock plugin tutorial. If you're new to this channel, this is basically a series where I make beats only using stock plugins from FL Studio or other easily accessible sounds. Basically, the series is perfect for beginners who just want to make fire beats without having to invest $5,000 on VSTs and all these other hardware equipment. It's very easy to follow along. I go step by step. This is the best channel for people who want in-depth analysis and just in-depth breakdown of beats. Today, we're going to make a Lil Uzi Type Beat. Very excited. I've always been a Lil Uzi fan. Very unique sounding beats, very spacious beats, and I'm going to show you how to make that today. Now, before we get to the tutorial, I just want to say, if you're new to this channel, it really means a lot to me that you hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot. I love seeing this channel grow. Like, I've seen it grow from pretty much like nothing, and it really amazes me. So thank you guys so much for all your support. Also, I have a new drum kit coming out. Tony Shen Slap Pack Volume 3 is almost done. It should be out by the end of December. So I'm giving away that drum kit out for free. Right now, Tony Shen Slap Pack Volume 1 and 2 are both free. They're both in the link in the description for you guys to download. But if you're a returning subscriber, if you've seen my videos before, you might be getting a little sick of just me using the same drum kit over. So Tony Shen Slap Pack Volume 3 will be out soon, so be on the lookout for that. I should be dropping a video and mentioning it sometime in the future. So yeah, with that being said, let's get straight into the Lil Uzi Type Beat. So first thing you want to do, I like to just set a tempo because that really dictates the entire vibe, right? Like a slow beat versus a fast beat, completely different vibe. So with Lil Uzi Type Beats, you could be like a little bit slower if you want. He does have vibey songs, but today we're gonna go for like a mid-tempo, like I'd say like 144 is pretty good. Or you could go a little bit faster, like those are like the club beats that Lil Uzi likes to hop on as well. So today we're just gonna go with like 144, right? It's pretty vibey, whatever, right? So let's start with our sound selection, right? First, you want to find some like synthy, like spacious sounds, right? And there's a few stock plugins that you could pull up from FL Studio to get that effect. We're gonna use Poison. It's like it's a pretty like synthy. It has some really synthy sounds, right? Like feels like you're in space, right? So let's open this, and first let's pull up an arpeggio, right? Like what an arpeggio does, like you can play a chord. And you just play notes with it, like. So it basically just sequences out a bunch of notes if you hold a chord or like a note. In this case, it's a chord, right? We're gonna use this arpeggio, the strat run. It can sound pretty cool. Right now I'm just playing notes on my MIDI keyboard, but we're actually gonna just draw in the notes because it's a pretty simple chord. Let's go to our piano roll. We selected our sound. Let's just go, what chord did I play? Oh yeah, I think I played like a, higher octave. This is just the A minor 7th chord. I think the VST is glitching a little bit just because I don't have the full version, so it's just like a trial version. And like an F major 7th. I like the sound of the chord, but it just sounded a little bit too high pitched. So what I did was just pitched it down, right? So the pitch up and down an octave, just hold Control or Command if you're on Mac, and then press the up and down button. And just find a desirable range. Or if you want to change keys, you can hold Shift, and that just changes notes individually instead of octaves. But I like the A minor actually, so. So here's the thing, right? I don't have like the full version of Poison because I don't have like the edition. I didn't pay that much money for FL Studio to get that edition. So what we can do is kind of do a little cool trick, right? What we could do is just export this into audio so we don't have to deal with this VST thing, right? So all you have to do is go to pattern 1, put it on the playlist, and then right click pattern 1, and then you see this button right here that says render as audio clip. Just hit that button, right? And then click that, and then you should have the audio form of this. And it looks like it kind of like got clipped off here, but we're just repeating the bar, so it doesn't even matter. Like, I'm just gonna cut this and then copy this. So to copy, just hold shift and drag. And essentially we have the same thing. Like, we don't even need the VST anymore. Like, honestly, you could literally just delete it off your channel rack and it'll be fine. So like, we could just delete it. But I actually want to save the MIDI because we're gonna pull up another Poison. And let's pull up like a keyboard sound, right? Because that's gonna go under, that's gonna sit under it, right? And then just let's find like a keyboard sound. So like, I don't really like the way this is organized. Like, usually you would have all the ARPs at once, so it's really easy to like categorize everything, but this is just pretty disorganized. I don't know why. But let's look for a keyboard sound. You just have to look for KBD, which is keyboard. Okay, so we found this preset. It's called KBD Vintage Keys. Sounds pretty good. What we're gonna do is just gonna copy this here, and then let's mute that for a second. And let's go to pattern 1. Let's put that here. And then again, we're gonna pitch this down an octave because it's kind of right now it's playing in the same range as your arpeggio, which does clash if you play it together. So let's pitch this down an octave. Yeah, that sounds good, right? And then we could also like make these play like individual notes, right? So instead of just holding a chord, like boom, 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 right? So what we can do is find like how you want to subdivide it. So I think beat would be the subdivision, and just press Command or Control U. Yeah, it's just the demo version. Every few minutes the volume would, yeah. So that sounds pretty good. I want the keys to sound a little bit more interesting though, because right now it's just playing like one note. It sounds pretty robotic. So what we can do is first Alt S, which strums it, so that offsets like the starting note a little bit. So it makes it sound a little bit more interesting. And the other thing is Alt R or Option R if you're on Mac, and that kind of like that randomizes the velocity. There's more movement, right? So instantly that just makes it sound more interesting. And same thing, let's just, because I don't have the full version of Poison, right? So let's just right click here, render as audio clip, and then that fixes the whole issue, hopefully. Yep. And then if you just play it on the playlist. Problem fixed! Let's just make sure we loop this so that Okay, now let's just throw these in the mixer. Let's mute this just in case. Let's throw both of these patterns into the mixer here. Let's add some effects to it, right? This is a little bit loud, so we could turn down the input gain a little bit. So for this, like, I want this to kind of sound like on the outside. I want this to sound pretty big, right? So what we can do is first we could add a delay that obviously would increase the width, the perceived like wideness of the sound. Turn down the width now below. See, instantly it makes it sound a little bit wider, right? And same thing with reverb, that does the same thing. If you just increase the size of it, it sounds bigger. And don't worry if you don't have Fruity Delay 3. I think this is only for FL Studio 20. Fruity Delay 2 works just as well. Or like Fruity Delay, you know, you don't have to be that fan. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like any delay will do. Okay, let's turn this down a little bit. It's a little bit loud. Okay, and same thing with here. I think I like the keys the way it is. Yeah. Okay, so now let's go to 808 because I feel like if you just the 808 will instantly just create that energy for you right there, right? So let's go to Tony Chen Slap Pack Volume 1, the 808. Let's go to the Jones 808. I want like a short stubby 808 for this one. And first we could just come up with like the groove or like the rhythm of it. So you could just, you know, click this in the step sequencer. It helps if you open up your metronome because it gets an idea of like where the beat is. My pattern's not here. keep this, and then just add a little bit of variation. Oh yeah, we can change the grid size to like step maybe. Yeah, no here. So I like the groove of this. Next step is to kind of like do a few housekeeping items with your 808. So first you want to do is add an envelope, because like it just gives you more control over like how long you want the 808 to sustain. So for example, if I didn't have this, it'll kind of play into the next note if they're like close together, and it just makes the 808 kind of muddy. So if you open that, you have more control over how long you want the 808 to sustain, right? Next thing you want to do is tune it. I already know all of these are tuned to C by default, so you don't really have to do anything when it comes to my 808s. But if you're working with someone else's 808s, you always want to tune it just to make sure that your root note is set properly. So just Control E, that opens up Edison, and just hit this flag button, detect pitch regions, and if that says C, then you're fine, because by default your root note is already set to C. But if that said like D or like E, you would just right click this note and change the root note, right? So since it's C, you don't have to do anything. And also another thing is like, you see there's a little bit of space here, you can normalize it just to make it a little bit louder. That's just an optional step. I mean, you don't really have to do it if you don't want to. And then now let's kind of like play with the key, like the pitch of the 808, right? Because you don't want to just play on C, it might not even be in key. So first thing you can do is Control L or Command L if you're on Mac, and that links each note next to each other. So, and then next step is you want to just, with the 808, you just want to follow the root note of each chord. So like I said earlier, I don't know if you were paying attention, because music theory is boring, to be honest here, right? I was talking about how the root note was an A, right? I was talking about how like the chord was an A minor 7th. So that means that the root note is just A. So if you just set the root note to A, it's just in tune, right? Like, and then the next note was the F major 7th, right? So F major 7th, the root note is F. So just set the root note to F. Same thing. It just repeats the next, for the next 4 bars is the same thing, right? And then you can make this sound interesting, you know. Yeah, because you have the chord right here, right? So any note that you place within the chord is going to sound good within the context of like the other melodies. So that's a good thing of like having MIDI and like writing your own MIDI, is that you have access to all of this, and you can just literally place your 808 in your other melodies and just use the grid as a guide. Up next, let's just add the other percussive elements or the other drum elements. Right? Let's use the clap. Again, the clap, you can normalize it just to make it a little louder. And then the other percussion, other drums, you know, like hi-hat, you can just, you know, fill each step, just 2 steps. You can fill in some steps, like... Fire, huh? And then open hat. Snare, just, you can add it just to give it a little bit more bounce, right? Just copy this. Let me get rid of this one here. Okay. Now let's add a kick just to emphasize the 808 and just to make it, you know, a little bit more, hit a little harder with the 808. So we use the Tobias kick from Tony Shen Slap Pack Volume 1. Same thing, normalize it. And right now I'm just kind of just following the melody of the 808, or like the rhythm of the 808. It's the same exact rhythm. I'm just placing him exactly where all the notes of the 808 is. All that kick does is just emphasize the notes of the 808 just a little bit, just to add a little bit more punch. Last thing I want to maybe add is just like a little solo like lead melody. I feel like Lil Uzi has a lot of that in his songs. So here, let's pull up Citrus actually. Just go to presets and then go to like, you know, synth or like short synth maybe. Oh, that's pretty fire. Okay, that's a good thing of having a MIDI keyboard, is that it just gives you the ability to like, because like if you didn't have a keyboard, you have to actually think of like a melody in your head, right? Versus like if you have the keyboard, you can just play it. But obviously I know not all of you guys have a keyboard, so I'm gonna like just assume that no one has a keyboard and we're just gonna do this, you know, like here, but and just think of a melody, right? So the bad thing is that you have to put up with my singing, because I'm gonna have to sing the melody to like be able to put it down. That's how I come up with most of my melodies actually. I just sing it, and if it sounds good singing, then it's gonna sound good with the synth, because my voice sucks. Boom. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. 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 It's a little high pitched, so I might pitch it down. Or it doesn't sound like. I think I could change them. I could change the sound. I want like a more like bigger like synth. You know, this kind of sounds a little thin, so I like that. Just pitch it up an octave. So let's route all of these to the mixer, and then the lead kind of sounds a little bit loud, so we're gonna look at how loud this. I already know it's super loud. Look at how loud this is. Actually, not that loud. We can do a little bit more to beef up the sound of this lead. So let's add a few things, right? Let's add chorus just to make it sound a little bit more unique. Here's without. Makes it sound a little bit more wide and like a little bit more detuned, right? Add some reverb. Let's turn this down a little bit. That sounds good, huh? Turn that really down a little bit. So So in terms of like mixing your 808 and the kick, I always like my 808 to sit a little bit below the kick because the kick really adds emphasis, right? So I like my 808 to just be a little bit softer than the kick. And everything else is already mixed for you. Like maybe turn the snare down a little bit. And there you have your Lil Uzi Type Beat. We're gonna save this real quick. Save anyways. Yeah, let's just arrange it real quick. Let's see. So we have all of our sounds, like, or the remaining of our sounds in pattern 1, right? So just right click here, split by channel, and then now you have your individual tracks. We can delete these poison. We don't really need them anymore. They've served their purpose and we don't need them anymore. Okay. Bar. And then just arrange it. Like we mixed it. We did everything else. All you have to do is arrange it, right? So I like, just for like organization's sakes, I like putting all my melodies at the top when I arrange it and all my drums at the bottom, just so I know what's what. And then, let's see, what does it start with? Well, it starts with your keys and your arpeggio, right? So let's have that. And then maybe, like working with artists, I realized that they all like this type of like intro, right? So bass intro kind of thing. Pitch this up an octave. Here, cut out the drum, the 808. Just to give your ears a little bit of a break, because you know you don't want a bass ringing in your ear all the time. Beat, guys. We arranged it really quickly. You know, if you've seen my videos before, you know arranging it is kind of like boring for me. Like I don't really like arranging it that much. But with that being said, that's our entire beat video. I'm gonna preview the beat for you guys really quickly. But before I do that, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. I've had a lot of fun making this video for you guys. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, if you guys took something away from it, please hit the subscribe button. Turn the notifications on. You know the drill, right? Let's play the beat for you guys. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.